Welcome into another edition of Prospect, Produce, Prosper. I am John Jagay. I'm joined again by Marc Rogers from Producers Prospect. Marc, always good to be with you.
Thanks, Jag. Great to be with you. It's going to be a great show today. I can't be more excited.
I feel like we're continuing this trend of having real experts in the space on the show and picking their brains about their specialties and how they can help the advisors that are listening to our show. So let's get right to it. Why don't you introduce today's guest?
Well, we got Mr. Phil Graham, a.k.a. The Boss, CEO and creator of the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan on today. And as I've been in the industry almost about the same time as Phil, and I go to these big broker-dealer events, I'm on main stage speaking. No doubt every single time I get off the stage and somebody comes up and says, "Hey, are you brothers with Phil Graham?"
Yes. I can see the resemblance. Okay, yeah.
So if you don't know, you got to go check both of us out. But I think that we get our hair done by the same person and have the same stylist. So he's got that going for him, which is nice. I couldn't be more excited to have Phil on because as we continue to enter this most uncertain times in the environment, financial advisors, I think, are constantly looking for something new to address, make themselves stand out and be truly unique and different in their marketplace. And Phil has been one of those leaders time and time again. He's built massive distribution firms. He's set himself apart from the industry. Here's a guy, that's been around a long, long time around our financial services industry. I think today he's doing something truly unique and different that will help an advisor have something to say today immediately, have a purpose to call their clients and make money. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So I want to jump right into, Phil, your background, if you can give our listeners a little bit about you, and then let's talk about the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan. What's the background around it and where does it fit? Break it down to us.
Thanks, Marc. Thanks, Jag. And I think back a lot to 1998, coming into the business, and we were working in the basement of our founder's condo or townhouse at the time. We had no computer, like a piece of paper with names, a ruler, a highlighter, and a phone, just banging it out. And we did $12 million in sales our first year in annuities. And I think today, that's like a decent advisor's personal production. And that's what we did as our first year as an IMO. And then you kind of fast forward 20 years. My last year, I was a partner with the company. We did, almost $2.5 billion in 2016. So that's quite a jump from 12 million to $2.5 billion. Was a partner in a broker-dealer, partner in an RIA. I always kind of specialized in that investment side, but I was the fixed guy. I was the safe money guy that complemented what the investment guys were doing, not trying to convince them to take away from it. And, leading into where I am today, Marc, you kind of talked about it, was I spent my life trying to convince advisors to divorce their current relationships and marry me so I could get paid. And got good at it, but I was like, okay, there's got to be a way I can help advisors support their clients, help advisors generate revenue without disturbing or disrupting their current relationships. And what I mean by that is to work with us and our product, they don't have to change their IMO, FMO. They don't have to change their RA. They don't have to change their broker-dealer. It complements what they're currently doing. And Marc, you and I have talked about this statistic, and being guys that like money in motion, and probably people listening like money to be moving, that's how we all get paid.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost $70 trillion transferring hands over the next 20, 25 years.
Wow.
I got excited. I'm like, all right, money moving. We're going to get paid, rollovers, death benefits, all this stuff happening.
Yep.
But then the next statistic that I read said, this is wealthmanagement.com, 66% of beneficiaries fire their parents' advisor immediately upon inheriting wealth.
Oh,
it's huge.
Vanguard says 95%, but I'm like, okay, let's just be nice and go with the 66% number. And most advisors would agree that they don't have a relationship with the inheriting generation. Now, that could be geographic. It could be it's not their ideal client. It could be, what I hear a lot is, I'm too busy to worry about that right now. But they all agree that they don't want those assets walking out the door. So the easy answer is, like we said, they don't have a relationship with the inheriting generation. But I dug a little bit deeper, and I truly believe it's the death claims process. So mom passes away. Little Johnny calls the advisor. Hey, Marc, mom just passed away. And almost every advisor says the exact same thing, verbatim. Oh my gosh, we're so sorry for your loss. We loved your mother. She was a great client. Let us know if there's ever anything we can do for you.
Mm-hmm.
And almost immediately, the beneficiary, little Johnny, goes, hey, Marc, I need money.
Every time.
Can the financial advisor get little Johnny any money within 48 hours of mom passing away? The answer is no. Like, what piece of paper do you need before the claims form to start any death claims process?
Got to get that death claim.
You got to have the death certificate. So pre-COVID, it was 10 business days. It's actually gone up. Texas right now is 25 to 30 days online process, and you can look it up on the Texas Public Health and Human Services website. And even if it was 2 weeks, then you got to get the paperwork, then you got to file the claims. It's at least 30 days before we can get little Johnny any money. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Phil, our clients have living trust, and little Johnny's the successor trustee. Great. What piece of paper do you need to start the successor trustee process?
You're back to that death certificate.
Oh, a death certificate. Oh, Phil, all our clients have money at TD Ameritrade, and they're all set up with TOD or POD, transfer on death or payable upon death. Great. That avoids probate. I love it. What piece of paper do you need for any financial institution to transfer that money on death?
I'm picking up a pattern here, Phil.
Yeah, it's a pattern. Oh, but don't worry, Phil. Little Johnny's the power of attorney. Well, I hate to tell you the power of attorney dies when you die. Now, I can go on down the list. Oh, I got final expense. That requires a death certificate. People don't understand that what they think's going to happen isn't actually what happens. But here's the great news. It doesn't cost anything for the client to fix the problem. Now, here's what I mean by that. If they're leaving an inheritance, and let's just make up a number, $500,000, whether they do a beneficiary liquidity plan or not, their family still gets $500,000. They don't get any more. They don't get any less either way. All we do is we help the family determine what's the minimum. That's the key word I use. What's the minimum your family's going to need for the first 30, 45, 60 days until the dust settles, until your estate settles, until they can get access to their inheritance? What's the minimum they're going to need to cover all those expenses and bills? So on one of the worst days of your family's life, it's not a burden. So we meet with families and we help them determine what that minimum dollar amount is. We help them determine where we're going to allocate it from, and we simply move it from their left pocket to their right pocket. And we don't require a death certificate except, asterisk, the states of Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Massachusetts, and New York. Those 4 states require, or 5 states require a death certificate.
I've lived in 3 of those states.
Every other state, we can pay out. This isn't a loan. This isn't a bridge. This is a payout. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the kimono back here. We use a single premium, guaranteed issue, fixed, whole life insurance contract with a 100-year-old A-rated mutual insurance company that we pair with a free irrevocable trust at the insurance company. We issued age 99. Max is 100. Minimum is 2,500. It's 3 pages. It's a 10-minute conversation. I jokingly tell people, if you follow my system, you will make $100 a minute using my platform. We've done this for over 3 years. This is all we do. It's proven to work. We have a 5-question survey that you can either email out or have your clients fill out. They just check 5 boxes. Our digital training platform online called the BLP Playbook. You can watch me go through the script. It's super easy. It tees it up. It sets it up. And the best part is you don't have to see any extra clients. We utilize this on clients you're already going to see anyway. So 1 extra app a week generates 6 figures a year. And anybody listening knows marketing is expensive. You know, even if you're working with Marc and he's helping with some of that, it's still not cheap. Running your office isn't cheap. Well, 100,000+ a year off clients you're already going to see. And you can never lose sight of our hero bridge process. We teach you how to be introduced to those beneficiaries. The big payday is when the client dies, you're the hero showing up with 20, 25 grand, saving the day, and now you retain those assets and they don't walk out the door. So even if I paid you $0, you would want your clients to have a beneficiary liquidity plan because you want to help the families, you want to be the hero, and you don't want those assets walking out the door.
Phil, I'll jump in here for a second here as the person who does not work in the financial sector and as kind of the layperson in the conversation. What you're saying boils down to which situation would you rather be in? Would you rather be the one saying, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. Your mom was a great client. Look for a check in a month or so. Of course, somebody's going to leave if you tell them that. Whereas if you say, I'm so sorry for your loss, you know, here's the money to get you through the funeral and everything else and everything that you were hoping to get. Here it is right now. I got to imagine that client is a heck of a lot more likely to stick with you from there on out.
I love just asking as this comes up, you know, going to my top advisors and saying, hey, look, when's the last time you asked your clients the following? Do you have transition funds available? Like, let's just start there. What is your plan? how are you helping your beneficiaries manage your final expenses? Most people, if you just asked, and Phil, jump in with what other things that you would say, but if you just literally started there and ran down the list of your top clients, you'll get quickly into a conversation, all before having to explain that this is life insurance. And at the end of the day, if you said comments like, this is protected against creditors from probate, this is money paid within 24, 48 hours, like, are you kidding me? And we're going to just simply eliminate the burden on your loved ones. What's that worth? What's that cost to you?
That last part is the key right there.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you even ask the client, say, well, if you died today, how would your family cover all the expenses? It's not just your funeral, by the way. There's a ton of expenses above and beyond the funeral. Celebration of life, travel expenses, attorney fees, real estate costs, etc. But if you died tomorrow, how would your family cover those costs? And typically people have, I got this savings account or I got this insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's educating them that unfortunately that money's not actually available and someone's going to have to be reimbursed. And so we always jokingly say what happens at the funeral home is 4 siblings show up. Mom died. One of the siblings is deemed more successful than the others. They get stuck paying the bills. They never get reimbursed, and now Thanksgiving's awkward.
Every time.
And that's not what mom wanted. There's money there. They just couldn't get to it.
Thanksgiving was already awkward. It just got worse.
And so again, this isn't about leaving more money. You're not making premium payments and buying more inheritance.
Right.
We're simply allocating money you're already going to leave. We're just making sure it's structured properly. And again, I'm not David Copperfield over here. It's not a magic trick. We just took 2 of the most fundamental estate planning tools and put them together for the masses in a super easy, no-cost way that your clients can get that liquidity and asset protection. And again, there's no leverage. We're not buying life insurance. It looks like a savings account, but at an insurance company, we just happen to use a life insurance chassis as our tax-free way of passing the money. And the revenue is, if you're under 70, it's double digit. So our average case size is about 20 grand because I'm not trying to overfund this.
Right.
I don't want to put a couple $100,000 in. This is only earning 0.5% interest, unless that's what the family needed. But most families only need 20, 25, 30 grand, maybe 15 grand. I just put the minimum in. It earns 0.5%, tax deferred, passes tax free. You're going to make $1,500 to $2,000 on an average size case. It's literally a 10 to 15 minute conversation. This isn't something that you have to run illustrations or clients have to think about. They either get it or they don't.
That's right.
It's 3 pages. It's guaranteed issue. You get paid the next day. So you literally make about $100 an hour talking to your existing clients, solving a problem that actually ends up being a problem for you because the money's going to walk out the door, which none of us want.
What stood out to me the other day is I was on your LinkedIn and I watched the interview with your $30 million a year advisor's office and how they're actually benefiting from adding this in. Talk a little bit about that, because one of the interesting things always is sometimes I think advisors, I'm too big or I'm too over this level of conversation because I'm the wealth manager and da-da-da-da-da. We all know the type, Phil.
Or my clients are all high net worth. They don't need this.
That's right. So just walk us through, because I think that the high-end advisor needs to hear this conversation. And I think that even the mid-tier or somebody even getting into the business can really use this unique and different, and kind of walk through even that conversation you had with that mega producer that you had.
The more assets your client has, the longer it's going to take to unwind their estate and the more they actually need this. And the more assets you have under management as an advisor, the more you have to lose if 66% start walking out the door.
Yep.
So we're going to actually pay you to build a bridge. We call it the Hero Bridge. We trademarked the Hero Bridge on how we build that bridge to the inheriting generation. We teach you how to do it. It's super easy. It's literally just another 5-minute conversation. And you should be seeing these clients every quarter or every year anyways. And a lot of times you don't want to because you've kind of already made the money on it, or the quarterly fee you're getting on managed accounts, you've kind of already budgeted that in. But now you can make $100 a minute at the end of your annual reviews that you should be doing anyway. So if you're busy, 90% of our business comes from clients our financial advisors already had annual review appointments booked with. We don't go get new clients. I don't have lead gen.
Mm-hmm.
I help you monetize your existing clients. It doesn't mean you can't use the revenue we help you generate to invest in proven marketing platforms that will generate more clients, which ultimately generate more assets, more annuities, more life insurance, more beneficiary liquidity plans. But we help you with your existing clients because I know you're busy. And because this is all we've done for 3 years, I have this thing running on all 8 cylinders. It works 100% of the time. The only time it doesn't work is if you don't.
I love that.
Like literally, if you follow our simple step, and it's so easy, and it doesn't disrupt your business or take any extra time, you will make money. The only reason you won't make money is if you don't do it. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Well, and I love how you set it all out, right? You got a YouTube page full of a bunch of videos, your website set up. You guys have been phenomenal on any advisors that we want to educate. And so, again, I like to say the clients that you keep are the ones that you call. So we're always looking for a purpose. We're always looking for a reason to make a touch point each month or a call. And this is such an easy one. And we're already talking about protecting one's retirement. We're talking about protecting one's families. And if you're not having this, conversation with somebody, you're missing out. And somebody else is going to get to them before you, right?
And we made it simple. I created a 5-question survey. It's literally 5 boxes the client checks. All you have to do is either have your admin give it to your client when they're sitting in the conference room before the annual review. We build out custom email templates where you can email it out to your clients and you get instant results back when you send that out. And then we have a script to follow up just to talk through the 5 questions. The 5 questions get the clients to verbally admit they don't want to be a burden. Mm-hmm. We get them to verbally admit that they care about their beneficiaries. And then we get them to give us a dollar amount they want their family to have access to in 48 hours. And so we simply go through those 5 questions. They admit they care about their family. They admit they don't want to be a burden. And then they said $50,000. And we go, okay, Mark, I don't want to put words in your mouth or thoughts in your head, but in your mind, how's your family going to access $50,000 or $10,000 or whatever the dollar amount is within 48 hours of your passing away? And there's only 3 things the clients can do. Stare at you and say nothing. Stare at you and say, well, I'm guessing you're getting ready to tell me. Or they say, I got it figured out, in which case we say, tell me how. Mm-hmm. And I already know 100% of the time, however it is in their head, they figured it out, doesn't work. We always tell clients, I'm like, Jag, Mark, I can't sit here and tell you that your family can't figure it out without a beneficiary liquidity plan. Because for generations, families didn't have a BLP and they figured it out, right? But here's my definition of figuring it out. It causes stress, arguments, disagreements amongst family members, maybe short-term, long-term financial hardships, but they figured it out. Mm-hmm. But why would you want to make it hard on your family when you're leaving them an inheritance? On one of the worst days of their life, the day you pass away, wouldn't you want to make it easy using money they were going to get anyways if it doesn't cost you anything to fix it? Yeah.
100%.
So, Mark, I think people should reach out to you. If they want more information, you're probably the best person for them to start with, and then we can kind of coordinate, what next steps might be.
As I look at this, right, we're starting to enter the summer months. No doubt all the statistics show that more and more people, given the cost of inflation and travel and expensive fuel, more and more people are going to be home.
Yeah.
There's more fear that's out there ever before. Your clients are wanting to be contacted, and advisors want to make money during the summer. So as dinner seminars shut down or other streams of revenue and marketing shut down, Phil, I'm looking at this as this is your summer plan to get your list out. You could even have a fun client appreciation event where you could have me out, or we could throw videos of Phil up on the screen and he can play it for your entire group of people. We can do webinars. I mean, there's massive ways to market this out to people. But if you just dedicated your kind of June, July into getting this out to your clientele, selfishly, Phil, and go along with this, hopefully you will. But if you really dedicated your time over the summer and built that revenue, this is now going to be revenue you can go put back into your practice and then afford me to come out and do your seminar for you and afford me to do more marketing. And so this is just another way to connect in and be even stickier to your clientele. I mean, what do you say to that, Phil?
Well, we make it even easier. Our advisors love what we call the refrigerator Perry process.
Okay.
You guys remember the refrigerator Perry?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Don't remind me. I'm a Patriots fan, but that's okay.
It was like 84, 85 Super Bowl.
January 26, 1986.
But who's tracking that?
the 2-yard line, they hand the ball off to the fridge. He's 400 pounds, and he literally walks into the end zone. So what we do is we'll work with an advisor's staff. We'll teach them how to send out the survey or how to get the survey responses back either in paper or email, and how to tee it up for the advisor where all the advisor has to do is literally, oh, here's a survey, go through the 5 questions. It's a conversation like we just went through and sell it. And it takes 10 minutes. So the advisor has to do so little work because we can make it an administrative process versus a sales process. And Marc, I think that comes back to like you as kind of a mentor and some of these other advisors as mentors. They've already figured this out, and we can easily share how these other offices are implementing that into their practice.
You know, it's funny, as a small business owner, something I've been learning is, and I think a lot of our advisor listeners are small business owners in the same way. I kind of do a lot of things on gut. I do a lot of, okay, this is how I feel like it's got to be done. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And Phil, this goes right with the other conversations Marc and I have had in previous episodes, and that's about having systems in place to get stuff done, be efficient, and maximize your revenue. And the system that you've just described over the last 20, 25 minutes is so simple, it is so turnkey, and it is so profitable. I can't imagine why a listener or an advisor wouldn't want to take advantage of it.
I can't either. So let's just do it.
We need to connect on this, and we need to sit down and have a conversation about how we can get this type of plan put into your practice immediately and take action. Because like we've said, it's simple, it's easy, it's repeatable. And if you're not talking about it to your investors, somebody else will be. So you can contact us at Producers Prospect, of course, on our 800 number, 800-829-5596. You can also reach out to us at producersprospect.com. Of course, on all the social media sites, Marc Rogers, you can check out my LinkedIn, and we'll have this posted everywhere for you to catch up with us on. Phil, I got just a few more minutes. You're a legacy in the industry. You've helped thousands of advisors. I think that the number was 22 billion last you and I talked about it over your career that you've raised. And I'm always a give back guy, right? I always think about, givers get, and you've had that same philosophy all of your life. What I know about you is how much you care. The advisors that you've worked with over the years, they've been the hardest ones to take away from you because you do so much for them and they love you. So let's give back to the young generation, the new advisor that's coming into the business right now. What would you tell them? What are the couple of the rocks that you would give to somebody to say, to be successful, to put yourself on a track? Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to do. What would you say to them?
I think this even works for advisors who aren't necessarily at the success level they want, but you got to find a mentor. And a mentor to me is somebody that's already made it to where you want to go. It can shorten the track to get there. You don't have to make all the same mistakes. They can help guide you. Sometimes that's kind of hard to find, Marc. It's like you got this $30, $50 million advisor. It's like, oh man, that's where I want to be. $100 million advisor. Well, they don't necessarily have the bandwidth to go, yeah, come on under my wing. I'll show you what I do. Or they're going to want half your commission or just something ridiculous. I think, Marc, that's where you come into play. Because like me, you've been in thousands of financial advisor offices. You know what all the top guys are doing. To me, you're like the new age mentor where the old way was you had to actually hitch your wagon to somebody's office.
Yep.
Like that top advisor. Now, we actually have a multiplier effect because you're not just one office. You've been in top offices. And even better than that, you're visiting other offices constantly. So you're ahead of the curve on what the trends are in marketing, what the trends are in social media, digital marketing, seminar topics, what the trends are in office processes and product. You're like a mentor on steroids because you have so much exposure. And I think this is where you and I always got along was like, I built my business on sharing ideas of what top advisors were doing. And then I've never seen anybody go as far as you go further than I ever went because you're physically going out in the field and helping these offices implement the strategies you're teaching. So we used to joke saying all these FMOs, IMOs had these ideas like say, oh, hey guys, everybody should go do a wine tasting. And the advisors all get all excited and go, okay, I'm going to go do a wine tasting. All right, let me know how it goes. And then they go, okay, well, where am I going to have it? What invitation do I send? What kind of wine do I buy? How much wine do I buy? What do I say about the wine? How do I convert that into appointments? Most organizations, and I'm they're all the same to me, so I don't even have to name names. They just give ideas and don't actually have this true implementation, because this is my quote of the day. Ideas are worthless. Implementation is priceless.
Oh, I love that.
What you do and what I've seen, Marc, is you actually help not only give the ideas, you help implement. And that's where the money is the implementation. And I don't see anybody else on the road like you locked arms with their advisor partners, helping them achieve success.
I'm terrified about what the invoice is going to come over to me for that last couple of sentences, bud. So I appreciate you saying that. And I do want to point out one thing. I run into advisors all the time that get excited about, well, I get to go to the trips, or I get to go to the big event in wherever, and they put up the mega producer and give me ideas. And then when I quiz the advisor on, great, what are those ideas and how have you implemented them? They go, oh, well, we got 5 different sodas when the clients walk in because the mega producer said you got to have the drink of the client's choice sitting out there, right? Or they say, you know what, I haven't implemented to those, but next year I'm gonna start doing this. So there's 2 different things. I mean, going to an event and picking up ideas, that's all good and well, but do you have somebody that is going to keep you accountable? Do you have somebody that's going to be in the trenches? I like to say I want to stay as close to the sale as I possibly can, because I think those who get further and further away from the sale start to actually lose what it is to be successful and what's really going to help somebody take their practice to the next level. So I appreciate you saying that, because it's hard to quantify sometimes that value when people are getting wined and dined at these big events and they're seeing the Cirque du Soleil dancers and they're getting all excited about that, when ultimately what they're doing is taking your override and simply paying that so that they can recruit the guy next to you. So I'm all in, and I want to take what you've brought to the table today. I think that this is something truly unique and different. We need to implement this into our sales process, and this will help you be successful. So, man, thank you so much for jumping on, and more to come. I'd love to have you back again later. And Jag, as always, thanks for running the call today.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.